So in this segment, we're going to be talking about multiple ministers getting absolutely bodied and fact-checked by the BBC and also Adil Ray of Good Morning Britain. And I hope this guy becomes the new permanent host because, boy, did he sent George Eustice to hell in that interview. So let's look at what's going on. Let's fact-check some people. So, asked in Parliament on the 17th of May why India had not been put on the red list earlier, Matt Hancock replied, "The truth is that when we put Pakistan and Bangladesh on the red list, positivity among those arriving from those countries was 3 times higher than it was arriving from those from India." So the strange thing is, why was it that these people who had tested negative were tested positive were able to come into the UK? Because you needed a negative test just to get into the UK. So it's a bit strange. How are these people catching COVID so quickly en route to the UK? It's very weird. Hancock's claim is not supported by publicly available NHS test and trace figures. You can see here that India actually has a higher rate of people who have tested positive with COVID than Bangladesh, and its rate is not that much lower than Pakistan. So when he says things like Bangladesh and Pakistan were higher on when it comes to testing positive for COVID as they arrived in the UK, that's wrong. That's been fact checked. He's saying that there was a 3 times higher positivity rate among those from Bangladesh and India. We can see that's not the case. You can see from Bangladesh. That they show that between the 25th of March and the 7th of April, the proportion of travellers testing positive for coronavirus on arrival to the UK were 3.7% from Bangladesh, 5.1% from India, and 6.2% from Pakistan. So the numbers are fairly similar, but if anything, if Matt Hancock was looking at the data, India and Pakistan would definitely be on the red list, and maybe not Bangladesh. Maybe. So they asked the Department for Health whether the figures from a different source support Matt Hancock's claim, but they had not answered the question, so they knew they were caught, basically. And thanks to Ed Conway of Sky News, who managed to find the data set for the period between the 25th of March and the 7th of April, which also reveals about half of positive tests from people arriving from the 3 countries were being sent for genome sequencing to identify variants of concern and variants under investigation. So variants of concern at the time were the India variant, and variants of concern were the South Africa and Brazil one. So you can see here that Bangladesh had a 75% positive rate for the South Africa variant or the Brazil variant, which is quite surprising. But India was at 52% and Pakistan was at 2%. So if the government tries to argue that more people had the variants of concern from Bangladesh and Pakistan, we can see that that's simply not the case. Hancock said the positivity rate in India, on which the decision to put Pakistan but not India on the red list, was at 1.6% in India and 4.6% in Pakistan, which is 3 times higher, as I said, which we can see is not the case. But those are not published figures, and he did not give the data for them, and we cannot tell you how rapidly India's rate climbed to 5.1% recorded by the 7th of April, and he did not mention Bangladesh this time. So what is clear is that he is offering statistics that have not been published. So these could come from the statistics of "don't worry, trust me, bro," or these could be legit statistics. I think Matt Hancock is lying here, but we can't confirm it because they haven't released the data set, and if they don't release the data set, it means most likely they were lying. The statistics regulator has been clear that when unpublished information is used publicly to inform Parliament, the media and public, it should be published. So the government should publish this. I want to see Labour and the media push more aggressively on this, but we'll see. We got this clip here, which is just beautiful. What's this? This is some Dominic Cummings stuff we'll talk about in a bit in another video. But this is just Adil Ray. This is chef's kiss stuff here. Let's go.
George Eustice. So Boris Johnson claimed that Pakistan had a variant. He went on to say the South African variant. That is a lie. There was no other variants in Pakistan on April the 9th. That is an absolute fact. So he lied to the nation on Friday. And then we hear from Matt Hancock saying, oh, it's never about the number of cases. It was never about that. We were looking at the proportion of positive tests once they arrived here. I mean, why on earth would you allow people to come here free as they want and then just do the test when they arrive? We've never heard that has been before as a policy. And yesterday, Kwasi Kwarteng was trying to claim that actually, no, it's fine because we've got a great vaccine rollout. So that's what we were relying upon. And now you're saying, oh, we were looking at the testing system in India. Which one of those 4 excuses is the truth? I expect none of them are. It's just small lies.
Well, I totally disagree with you. They're all the same.
I mean, they're not though, is it? I mean, these are different metrics to use for a red list. So, and the argument that the vaccine rollout is the reason we don't need to be super concerned is very dodgy, especially since we didn't actually know at the time if the vaccine was effective against the India variant. Luckily for us, it is. But George Eustice here is absolutely going to get destroyed.
And the Prime Minister and Matt Hancock
they're all the same. They're all just lies. Is that what you mean?
They're all the same truth, which is exactly as I've been setting out in your programme. It's exactly the same as Matt Hancock and the Prime Minister said. The incidence of the virus in those arriving from Pakistan was far higher than from India. The reason India was declaring more cases is that they were doing more testing. All of that's clear. Matt Hancock said
I'm going to stop you there because I know we'll run out of time very soon. Mr. Eustace, it is an absolute lie. Matt Hancock, out of all of those people, you'd think Matt Hancock, Secretary of State for Health, would be the one with the most accurate and reliable information, as he does this every day. He came out with a blatant lie yesterday in the House of Parliament. These are your figures. These are your figures based on the proportion of positive tests. NHS track and test and trace figures, and they claim that India had 5.1% of positive tests.
So these are the statistics we talked about a few minutes ago. So, the arguments that they make is, certain countries were testing higher for the variants of concern. Well, we know that Pakistan was testing less, showing positivity rates less for the variants of concern. So that kind of argument goes out the window, because then India should definitely have been on the red list. The argument that people from Pakistan are testing higher for COVID than India, therefore India wasn't on the red list because of that. But you can see that Bangladesh was lower than both of these two countries. So again, it further goes to the fact that the argument that COVID positivity is the reason why India is not on the red list is a lie. The argument that India are testing more, that's the reason why we're trusting them or whatever. I don't think that's a very strong argument. Do you?
Bangladesh 3.7%, Pakistan 6.2%. Matt Hancock was claiming something else yesterday. He claimed that it was 3 times as many. It's a lie. These are your own figures.
I mean, I didn't get to see what George Eustace's argument was. I doubt it'd be very good, but the fact is the government's own figures refute what the government are saying. You cannot argue, right? Let's have a look where the number's gone. People from Bangladesh had less positivity rates than travellers from India. Okay, so you cannot argue that the reason why we had India not on the red list was because people from these 3 countries, people from India were testing less testing less positive for COVID. Okay, you can't argue that because Bangladesh is less than India when it comes to positivity rates. Okay, you cannot argue that the reason why India wasn't on the red list is because they had less of the variants of concern, which isn't true, because only 2% of travellers from Pakistan had the variants of concern, whilst 52% of India had the variants of concern, and 75% of people from Bangladesh had the variants of concern. So you cannot argue these things, because once again, India is slap bang in the middle of both of these other 2 countries, both geographically speaking and both speaking from these graphs. So the government are full of frauds. Once again, they're lying. And the reason why India wasn't on the red list is because of trade reasons. We were desperately chasing a trade deal with India. So congratulations, Boris Johnson. You let the India variant get into this country because you failed to deal with the task at hand, which was keeping the country safe and keeping variants out. So congratulations, Boris Johnson. You did it again. Anyways, I know I got a bit confused in trying to word the stuff I want to word, but I hope you guys can forgive me for that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.